Hey all, it's Sarah Saxby, your transformation coach at Strategies for Happiness, author of Comfortable Hell, and Guide to a New Way Forward. And today I want to talk about sex, I guess, because, why not? What the hell? And just the fact that, in all honesty, I'm 50 years old and I don't know what's normal. I don't. And so I'm sharing a lot of things with you all and am really curious to see what everyone has to say. But I've been very candid about my relationships and how that kind of went. And I know I've shared this before, but in my past relationship, I was abused sexually, and basically sex was the way he received his supply, his energy supply or whatever that is. And, so the expectation was 7 days a week. But, it just, if there was ever a night that I would say I'm not in the mood, then I would get yelled at for hours, right? And told that I'm not living up to what he needs and whatever. But it's like if we whatever, we'd go for a night, I did have a few nights where I didn't have to, I could go without being yelled at. But basically, if we went a night, like maybe the second night without doing it, then he felt that I was getting my way, that I won the competition. And, it'd be like, you're just getting your way, and it's like, what do you mean I'm getting my way? It's like, and you're so messed up in your head at this point where you're just like, you're not even sure what's normal and what's right. And like I've shared in the past, it's like once you begin to tell this to other people and friends and stuff, they're like, dude, this is not okay. And because you have no perspective, it's like, they want you to be secluded and away from everybody else, so you can't compare the information. And he would always say, don't compare us to anyone else. We're not like everyone else. And so, say it'd be night 2 without sex and I just really wouldn't be in the mood. And it would be like, you always get your way. And I'm like, is that true? And so what, I don't know if this has happened to you guys, but if I did get to go like a second night without having sex, then he would say something like, okay, he always had to secure the next time we had sex. Like I needed to promise him when we were going to do it next. That was kind of like, okay, well, I'll let you go tonight. I'll let you have your way. I'll let you win. But you need to promise me and tell me when we're going to do it next. Is it tomorrow morning? And I would be, I literally wanted to scream because I'm thinking to myself, like, why? I would say to him, why can't I just be organic? Because I need to know. I need to know when this is going to happen. And I'm like, I really don't want this. I don't want it to be like this. I just, it's not like I was like withholding either. It was like I was doing it all the time. And then, but I would have to say, okay, we'll do it in the morning. Or, we'll do it tomorrow night, and he'd be like, and so I was constantly having to tell him when the next time was going to be. And it was so mechanical. And, I wanted an organic relationship where it was like, you're aware of each other's needs. But it's like, you come together and it's like this beautiful thing, not like I need to make sure he's getting what he needs all the time because this is how he gets it. And then inevitably, like it becomes this mechanical, physical thing because you don't want to do it. As a woman, I don't want to freaking do it every day. And honestly, if you do, that's great. But you need to have a partner that wants it that way too. Right? It needs to be balanced. You can't just have somebody that, and that's why I was just like, I think you need to find somebody who wants that all the time. Like, go find that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Really. Because if both people are agreeing to this, then there probably there isn't any issue with it. But I was living with something that I didn't want to do, and being forced to do it. And then if it wasn't quality, then I would get yelled at for the lack of quality and the lack of desire. And I'm like, how am I supposed to desire you when your boot is on my fucking neck about it? You know what I mean? And then it comes to the point of, my ex-husband, and it's like we weren't doing it at all. So I was like, because I had zero interest in doing that, like with him particularly. And so that was imbalanced, because, you shouldn't live that way. But, I didn't have an interest in that with him. It's one of the reasons why I got, divorced, many reasons, but like, so then, I remember, so it had been a couple years probably when I was married, and I was watching, the kids were taking a nap, and I was watching Oprah, and they were talking, they had those two doctors on, and I can't remember what their names were. They were so cool. They were sisters, I think. One was like a gynecologist. The other one was a psychologist, something of that nature. And they were saying, like, one of them said, if you're living without sex in your relationship, then, something's seriously wrong, because you should never, it's one of the greatest things about a relationship is when you have this connection with your partner, and living without it is a shame. Okay, that was what they said. And I, at this time, I'm like in my 30s, and it's like, is this what I really want? And I think some level of trying to repair that is important. And I did. And I just don't think that it was repairable on my end. But I was thinking about it for like anyone else, like how much compromise is there in a relationship? Like I guess, I was just thinking about how everyone else does it. And it's like, I want to go on this crusade of just talking to like other people and where they're at in their relationship when it comes to sex. Like, have you just committed to never doing it? Or is one partner pressuring you a lot and you're not interested? I mean, are you going to therapy to see how you can connect? Or do you feel like your relationship is good, and when you both come together, it's great, it's wonderful, there's a deep connection and respect for each other's needs, and no one has any problems whatsoever? I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I think it's what's normal. There is no normal. It's like everyone's so different, and everyone has so many different needs. But when is it time to say when with your partner? When have you tried to work so hard to come together physically and match each other's needs and meet them and be respectful, when it just doesn't work anymore? And when should you call it quits? And it's like, I know my partner used to threaten me, like, I don't know if I can live this way. I don't know if I can live, without, doing certain things that you don't want to do and whatever. It's like, well, then why would I push it? You know what I mean? Like, why? And I know that I was trying to make a relationship work, and I had fear of leaving for many, many other reasons. But, it's like at that point, I wasn't strong enough to just say, yeah, you need to go find somebody that can meet these needs, because it's not going to be me. I'm not going to be the one who does it 7 days a week, sometimes more than once, and, rip your clothes off when you walk in the door every time. Like, that's not going to be me. And I put up with that for a really long time for one reason or another. But I also tried very hard to change myself. I was hoping that I could change and want it more, but I feel like I was being bullied into doing that. No one was, and I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't saying, like when my spiritual teacher said, oh, I know how much you love him. And I just wanted to be like, no, I fucking hate him so much. I had so much hatred for where I was, but I couldn't get out. Saying a lot of things, but my real question is, it's like, what works for you? What works and what doesn't? I mean, I'm very curious to know, like, just for my own knowing and just to share, and hopefully reach other people that are in this situation too. Because I know there's I know a lot of people that just live without it. And I'm a big proponent. Like, I feel like my next time around, like I don't know if I'll ever live with somebody again. I don't know. You never say never, but it's just like, I don't know if that works for me. I don't know if living with someone and sharing a room and a bed and a bathroom and a blanket and all this shit works for me. But there's nothing wrong with that. The only time there's something wrong with that is when your partner isn't interested in the same things. And you can't force that person. Like if I meet somebody that really loves to cuddle and loves to share a bed and all of these things very closely, then I need to let them go, or they need to be very firm about their needs, and we need to part ways. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing wrong with their wants and needs. What's wrong is when you're pushing them on someone else to change. And like I said, there should be compromise when you really love someone, right? It's like, okay, but to what extent is the compromise? How far do you go when you really don't want to do something and you're not looking forward to doing something? Like if you're not looking forward to that, how many times do you do it when you don't really want to do it? And what's right and what's wrong? And how far do you go? And when do you call it quits? And when do you try to get more help? And, there's all these different things. And I really feel like more than ever before, we really need to honor and respect other people's needs. And, if it can't be repaired and if someone's not willing to adjust a little bit, then there is somebody out there that will do that. That is like more aligned with you. And I was never interested in finding that. I always, as soon as I met somebody that I felt was like paying attention to me and validating me and just loving me, like for the person that I was being, I didn't want to let that person go. I didn't want to lose them. I would do anything to keep them, unbeknownst to them. And rather than really sitting there and saying, well, what do I want? And I do want sex in my life. Like, I think it is a wonderful thing, but I'm not even sure what's right. I'm not even in touch with what's right for me. So I think I'm on this, like I said, like this crusade to figure out I just want to know what works for everyone. How do you find the balance? And when do you know for sure that it's not ever going to be right? And when do you let go and let that person in that is right for you? So very, very interesting stuff. And that's kind of what's in my head right now. But, leave me a message, Comfortable Hell on YouTube, and, or email me, Sarah at strategiesforhappiness.com if you want to be a little more discreet about it or whatever. I mean, I would never share a person's name. That's not what I'm about. And anything would be kept very secret, or private to me, because I truly just want to know, and gather, information. It's so interesting to me. And I come into this lifetime not really having a good understanding of it. So, leave me a message. I'd be very interested to hear from you. Thanks, guys. Bye.